Thanks for joining the Closer to the Dirt podcast. I'm your host and author, B.J. Emerson, and I'm talking with readers today about the Edenbury Chronicles, a little bit of already. My two guests today are actually readers and good friends, Steve Sheets and Wady Santos. Welcome to the Closer to the Dirt podcast.
Thank you for inviting us.
As readers, I really appreciate you sitting down with me and just talking through some of the themes that are in the book. And I have some questions for you. Maybe you have some questions for me. And so I think it'll be a good discussion. Let me ask you this. Somebody comes to you and says, why should I read this book? What is it about? What is it even about? In your minds, what is this book about? And either one of you can start.
I think the fact that it's a mystery was what caught my attention right away. But you would read this book if you want to take a look at how heaven and earth might join together in action. That'd be my discussion. That would be my line drop, and see what they said.
It could be controversial.
It could be controversial.
Is that even a thing? Can you bring heaven to earth? Is that how does that even work?
I think you need to read the book to find that out.
Right?
But it's fiction. These are made-up characters, and they get into some adventures, and they got to figure out these mysteries because bizarre acts of nature start happening when ZQs shows up as an insurance investigator in this little town, and things start happening, right?
Some things start showing in the town that they don't know and have an explanation for it. They're not used to see these type of things. So now they have to figure it out. What is this? Where it comes from? What does it mean? And that's when it gets interesting, brother. That's when it gets interesting.
All right. Wady, what resonated with you with this book as you read it? And you think back on it, what changed for you as a reader? So
what this book did to me, still doing it. I see the world different because I see the glory of God in every little thing. Because I believe that God still speaks every day, and through people and through His creation, and we might miss it sometimes. What we don't understand is, and this is just a glimpse of what is awaiting for us.
Yep.
And unless we realize that, oh, brother, we're missing a lot of things. We're missing a lot of God. So this book did that to me. I didn't see it like that. But every tree, every bird, speaking. But we have our ears like this. We don't want to hear. Let's be out in the world and realize God is speaking every second.
Let me take that question too.
Well, I
Okay.
want to ask you why you keep texting me pictures of things in nature.
Well, there's a reason for that. There's a reason for that because it talks a lot about getting closer to the dirt, getting close to the dirt. And in education, the highest level of thinking is called creativity, okay? And this book challenged me to start doing some writing myself. And to get closer to the dirt, I started really spending time out in creation or in nature and starting to write about what God was showing me in creation and nature. So yeah, it stimulated me to start doing something I had done probably since 5th grade, which was writing poetry.
Wow.
So yeah.
I've seen some of your poetry, and it's powerful. It's great. Good stuff. Wady, who is your favorite character?
Father Gregory.
Father Gregory. He's
Yes.
like this professor guy, a little weird, and he comes on the scene kind of late. I mean, probably more than halfway through the book, you end up meeting him, and then he reveals a lot of secrets and that sort of thing. But what is it about Father Gregory that you like?
Well, everybody had a picture of what was going on. I think Father Gregory, he got it right. And what I mean by that is he knew what was really going on. It was God was trying to say something. And if you mind me, I want to share this with you. This is a part of what I'm trying to say over here. Then you accomplish something that all the generation has. The professor replied, "What would that be exactly?" asked Lucy. The professor took his last bite of peach pie and said, "Holding heaven on earth." And that's what he's inviting us. That's why he enjoyed so much when he went out in the mist and he couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
He actually soaked every little second of that. And I think that's what this book is calling us to do, to soak every second
Yeah.
of God's creation. He's
Yeah.
speaking to us. Yes, we're called to care for creation, but he's seeing the glory of God in everything. That is what the book is calling us to do. That God is giving us this to take care,
Yeah.
but to also to see himself in everything.
What do you think the title, "A Little Bit of Already," what does that really mean?
A taste.
Yes.
A taste of what it's going to be like
Okay.
when heaven and earth meet together.
Yes.
And I think this ancient agenda that they start talking about early on is creation, trying to remind us not only of Eden and what the garden was like, but a preview of the new earth and new creation, right? Whatever that looks like, however we're going to get to that, however God restores the earth, there's going to be this new creation that we're going to be on. The Bible starts on earth and it ends on earth. So the title, actually, "A Little Bit of Already," came from one of our pastors, Wady Bass, who we were talking one day, and he said, "Yeah, we're getting this preview. It's it's already but not yet," and he used the term "a little bit of already." Creation is wanting to break through and remind us and give us a preview. How we'll get there, God will sort that out. I trust.
One of the things that I enjoy too about the book is you took me back to an old town.
Yeah.
Something funny that I keep mentioning to whoever talked to me about the book or asked me is there's a lot of coffee drinking in this book.
Yeah.
A lot of people drink coffee, which old town, one cafeteria, everybody knows each other. It's kind of comfy to me. So this is just soothing to me at times whenever I read the book. Yeah.
I think we could talk about what's next for this series. Where do you see it going? Would you rather see a prequel or a sequel, or?
I think a sequel, then the prequel, would be the sequence that I would look at. That's just me, okay? And because you've touched on what's starting to happen in other towns. The question is, does it continue to happen in the other towns? That would be what I would be interested in seeing. Is it going to move since Edenbury has turned their back?
What if one of the towns is overseas?
Nah, that would sure.
And this is a global thing. It's not a United States thing.
Right.
It is a global thing.
And that's intriguing. That would be intriguing because as Americans, we think everything's supposed to happen here first.
Yeah.
So,
and what people are experiencing, how much people have changed when they see what's going on in China or Japan or I don't know, Dominican Republic.
Yeah.
See the arc of change like you just mentioned in everybody's life.
Yeah. The time length of this book is what, 2 weeks?
3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay. So if this takes 3 weeks, what's to say the next book couldn't be another 3 weeks? It doesn't have to go,
3 years, yeah.
3 years or 10 years.
What if they get a flip phone?
A flip phone?
I can deal with that.
I can deal with it. Yeah.
I can deal with that.
Because once we get into the internet, it gets problematic. And I definitely am going to, at some point, go back 50 years to the Warren farm, the grove of trees. And as I read it and I think about, okay, here's the things that I have to address. If I go back 50 years, there was the mill, right? There was Henry Sheldon. There was Mr. Lawrence, the owner of the home with the library, all of that, all those guys. There's a lot to unpack there. And so I have a framework. So go ahead.
So would you also go back in that version to the 1850? Because I think 1850 is also thrown in there.
Yeah, the 1860 drought,
Yes.
which is a real thing.
Yes.
The 1860 drought is a real thing. And so if we go back to that and the miracle and the prophet and the tent revival and
Yeah,
all that. Yeah, we could do that. But maybe, well, we'll see how it works out. But I do plan to start writing here in another month.
I wanna add something that I've been wanting to say.
Okay.
That just like creation, and they experienced all that stuff in that town, they were able to live it and experience in it. The people themselves, they change experiencing these new things, which reminds me of whenever we have a glimpse of the glory of God and the kingdom of God in our hearts, we do change. Whoever read this book will know what I'm talking about. How the characters from the very beginning to the end, the more they're close to what it's going on in town, something is changing. The more they discover where it comes from and what it means, something is changing in them. So at the end of the book, you'll notice that somebody who used to be this way, now is more soft all of a sudden.
Yeah.
Now he's just more loving, more kind. Now the relationship builds. Now people are thinking about the future together. I don't want to give too much of it, but it's good stuff. So that was one of my favorite parts of the book too. How people change throughout the book.
Yeah.
The people that started are not the same one at the end of the book.
Well, and I think from this, I see creation differently. I see nature, the earth, but I also see people differently. If there's a contrast between, say, in Christianity, many times we start at Genesis chapter 3. I'm proposing we back up to Genesis chapter 1 and look at that, and then we see creation differently and we see people differently. If you're made in the image of God, I'm going to treat you differently. What if we started there? That's that's something that, again, was part of my journey in writing this, and I want the journey to continue. And I really appreciate you guys coming and talking about this.
Our pleasure.
And
Thank you for writing the book.
Yeah.
love having
We
you
really
guys.
enjoy it.
Yeah.
Love having you guys on the show.